So back in the garage here, and after I sanded some of this down and tried to take a look at what's going on, I just tried some practice welds on these holes just to see what it's like on this metal. My welder seems to respond a lot better to this than the big sheets of sheet metal I got. I don't know what's the difference, although I was lazy and I didn't grind those down, so it's probably because it doesn't have like a smooth surface like this, like a smooth clean surface I mean. But anyways, I went under the car. I kind of measured out how far there is another flap. It's a two-piece seam right here. There's like a, where the nuts are for the brace, there's like another piece with a little rail, kind of bent rail. And I don't want to cut that, and it seems like I can get away with not cutting that, and that's what I'm doing here. I'm just mapping out what I'm going to cut out, and then that way I can replace it. So that seems to be the easiest piece right now. It's easily accessible, like out here, and I mean that one's pretty easy too, but it's further in, and then there's some smaller holes way in there. I'm gonna practice on this one, and then I'm gonna move on to this. I'm gonna try to decide what to do here. I mean, these don't really do anything anymore. I could just cut all of this out and just do the whole thing, or I can be fancy and pop these out and then replace the sheet metal right there. I don't know what I'm going to do yet because I have a little bit to take care of there too. So let's start with this first. Get your cutoff wheel ready. I'm using a 4.5-inch grinder, and I'm just gonna follow these lines here that I drew with the Sharpie to cut, hopefully cut the square out real nice. I've never done this before, so let's give it a go. I'm gonna put a welding blanket up just in case. I don't want my sparks or whatever hitting my dash and burning a hole. But I'm in my first cut, point of no return. Gotta cut this one, then I'm gonna cut that and that. I might have to work on the little edge with my Dremel with the small cutoff wheel, but let's get to that afterwards. So here it is. I made the cut all the way around. I gotta clean that up just to break that free. I have a little corner here to cut, and I missed here, so I'm gonna have to clean that up maybe. I might not have to, and then I can break that free. There you have it. I cut my cancer out. There's my really bad practice welds. I mean, honestly, if I grinded those down, it'll probably work. But I didn't want any of this compromised metal in here. So out this comes, in goes a new piece. I ordered some 20 gauge sheet metal, and it's a bunch thicker than my 24 gauge I've been practicing on, because the floor turns out to be 20 gauge. I gotta measure out exactly how big this hole is on this new sheet of metal. What I can do is put the piece of metal underneath like this. Ooh, look, that looks nice. So I'm gonna be lazy and just, why not just use the factory edges, because they're already there, and just draw a little L and cut that out. Best way to do this is hold the piece of metal underneath, line it up like that, because I can always trim it. I'm gonna make it a little bit bigger than I expect, just in case. And there we have it. I'm gonna cut this out, see how that lines up there. So I cut out this piece, and it seems to be a pretty good fit. It's a little bit undersized, smaller than I hoped, but it'll work. I got these fancy little metal copper plates with the magnets built into them. So I'm gonna put them like so underneath, like that. This will help take away some of the heat and evenly distribute it, and hopefully it doesn't warp on me. Probably do something like that. And I can put this right over it. There we go. Nice and even. That looks pretty good. Whoops. Let's get this welded.